welcome to this summit. I am so excited about you being here because, oh my gosh, you are talking about the new frontier for me. So I was so excited when I saw what your specialty was, and that's why I wanted to have you on and tie everything up in this big red bow. So Wayne, would you take a minute and tell us a little bit about, your pathway here to Mayhem Digital Marketing? And I love that name. You've got to tell me about the name.
Well, actually, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm definitely, he wanted to spend some time bringing some value to you guys. And I know for most people, they're not out there in the Wild West learning how to do some of this stuff. We tend to get comfortable and, all that stuff. But the name Mayhem and why we called Mayhem Digital Media what we did is because I've actually been in this field since 2009.
Okay.
And when I first got my start in the industry, I actually started a company back in 2016 that was just my last name in enterprise.
Okay.
We actually scaled to multi-6 and 7 figures within 8 months of starting that company, but it actually started in the solar industry. So our whole objective was just helping people that were in the solar community buy and sell to help people, save the environment and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is that when it comes to lead generation, appointment setting, high ticket sales, whether it's a coach or an agency like myself or the solar guys, all of that client acquisition happens very, very similarly. And back in 2020, we all know what happened. And I was actually forced into a decision. I could either help the solar companies learn how to sell online when they lost access to in-home appointments.
Oh, yeah.
Or I was working with a men's marriage coach at the time who he was just a side project he had taken on, or he wasn't happy with his current approach. And so I came in and I showed him what I was doing with the solar guys. And he said, hey, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. Let's go ahead and try your approach. But let's get rid of my previous marketing company. I still work with this gentleman today. We've made millions and millions of dollars together. But one of the approaches that we actually did, when not only did I have to make that shift, but at the same time, TikTok was blowing up. So the company itself was born out of Mayhem.
Oh, okay. You're right. You're absolutely right. Now I understand that I just knew it was a great name.
Yeah.
wanted to hear.
And in essence, what we do is we help them manage the mayhem of their social media marketing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So, here's the thing is that everybody loves, we all like the idea of growing and scaling and how, all of the prestige and the status that comes along with it. But
sure.
So many of us, we just get into it for the idea of the money that we're making. And if you just get into it for the idea of you're going to pay your bills, that's all you're ever going to do.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that when it comes to actually going from your first 6 figures, having made your first 6 figures into that 7 figures, there's a lot of stuff that most people don't know how to do. And a lot of it starts with the front end client acquisition. And when we moved from solar to coaching, we saw an opportunity with TikTok to start to engage our clients on a more frequent basis and to really kind of humanize the brand of an agency itself. Even with the rise of AI and ChatGPT and all that stuff, we have to remember that people still buy from people, and a lot of it's about the relationship.
Yeah, and I think if you rely solely on AI, you're not giving your unique perspective. It just doesn't come across as naturally. It's a great tool. It's a great tool for researching things, but I think at this time people are so afraid of the wrong information that they look at AI and they're afraid of it right now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. And I think that's actually reinforced on a subconscious level with the Mayhem brand in regards to the fact that we don't really run from a little bit of chaos. We don't run from the hard work, and we don't run from not knowing, right? So I think that there's a lot of people out there, especially people that I'm an elder millennial, just so we all know. I'm 38 years old. I feel kind of trapped in between the old way that my parents and their parents before them did things, and how I was brought up. And, now we got all the Gen Z stuff. And so when we dove into TikTok, we really, really got a whole other perspective. And the thing that not only did we find that people are more engaged on that platform, but when we start to integrate ads, the traffic is cheaper. Obviously, If you run ads or anything like that, you've seen Facebook and Instagram and Google and even LinkedIn ads. The cost of them is rising.
Yeah, and you know what? Those ads don't always land too. You know, you really have to. There's an art to it, I know, but they just don't always land. And those social platforms are maybe not the way that we're moving for the future. I don't know. You know, I specialize in LinkedIn, but I know that my husband loves TikTok. and he's not a millennial. Neither of us are. We've been around a little bit longer than you.
And see, like I was surprised to find myself actually enjoying it as somebody that grew up. I'm from the MySpace age, right? So back
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, MySpace was big when I graduated college, and I'm ex-military, so I'm a little bit behind most people when it comes to when we got on Facebook. I was a little bit older because I didn't have a .edu at the time.
Yeah.
But
my dad was military too, so.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was Air Force. So the journey from
Air Force.
Oh yeah, I did F-16 avionics, 2 Alpha 352.
I have a collection of planes back here. One's the Mustang from World War
nice. I love that's my favorite plane all time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's a little aside. But
anyways. But yeah, so I found myself kind of enjoying it. And there's a lot of misconceptions about the platform. And the biggest one is that it's for younger people. I would say that if we were talking about TikTok back in 2020, 2021, I would tend to agree with that sentiment. But that said is that I've been recording content every single day on my Mr. Mayhem TikTok channel for 2 years now. I've been heavily involved in the marketing community, and I've seen, and we run ads every single day, and I've seen the type of interaction that happens. And there's a good amount of the older crowd that does have money that exists there these days.
I didn't realize that.
And here's what's funny is that I've got a roofing ad campaign that's going out right now that we're generating leads at like $45 a pop, and they're showing up at two out of 3 of them are showing up. And in my mind, it's because number one, we can reach more people because the ad platform isn't as saturated quite yet. And number two is that you've got people that are more engaged because they've usually seen 2 or 3 of your videos by the time the algorithm is willing to serve them your ads.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's, and I had no idea of this. You know, I only see what my husband brings in, you know, and it's something funny or something. And I wanted to ask you this because I think some of the hesitancy has been around TikTok being owned by the Chinese, and people, you know, there are a lot of things being said. So I wondered if you could address that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, no matter what you do, and I'm by far and away one of the least political people you'll ever meet. So I'm going to keep the politics side of this as low as possible. But rightfully so. We're all worried about, you know, our data and privacy and all that stuff. But I can tell you as an active user of literally, I have ads going on every single platform right now. Okay. All of the buttons, all of the levers, all of the integrations, and all of the automations that come from every single platform.
Right.
They all have the exact same capabilities, whether it's an American-owned company or a Chinese company or whatever. Facebook and Meta have been gathering your data for over a decade.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay. Yes. And so we're already far enough along in the data economy company to where you actually should, as an individual person, should be making choices about your own privacy, and you need to be educated about that as well.
Yeah.
That said though, is that as somebody that does the exact same thing on Facebook and on TikTok, like I run the exact same campaigns for the exact same company and the exact same offers, the exact same funnels. TikTok isn't gathering any data that any of the other ones aren't already, but what they're doing is they're actually leveraging it in different ways to try to improve the content that's delivered to you as the end user. All we're really actually doing when we tell Apple or Facebook or whoever to not use our data is limit the amount that they can actually serve us as an end user. Okay, so I think that was a genie that got taken out of the bottle way before anybody ever realized that it got taken out, and it can't be put back in at this point. So leverage it the best way that you know how, and educate yourself on ways to do that, so that way you, number one, can leverage it so that way it's beneficial for your business. And number two, so that way you can protect yourself and your family if you so choose to see that as a need.
Yeah, and there is user responsibility. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's your it's just like, the whole your body, your choice type of thing. You've got to make a choice as to what you allow in your life. And I think that, at least for somebody like me, that if I allow them to leverage my data, I'm going to see products and services that are relevant to me, instead of, I don't know, my son's 12 or he's 10 now. So like, I don't want to see diaper commercials anymore,
Right. Right. And that is true. All of and people don't like that feeling of being invaded, or having, something passed on. But you're absolutely right. When you're on the news feed of, say, a Facebook or LinkedIn, and you're on that news feed, that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I think it's a matter of looking at who your audience is too. And I always thought of TikTok as having a lower audience, or lower age group.
On like a macro level, that's still true, Dr. Owen, 100%, right? But the fact of the matter is that the population size itself has expanded to include enough people so that way we can leverage the filters and the hashtags and all that. That's actually one thing that is one of the most powerful things that we're doing on TikTok right now, is we're just using the videos on platform to build an audience, right? So many people are trying to sell their shiny stuff right away and driving the traffic off of Facebook or TikTok to a landing page. Well, it's no secret that the platforms don't like that right now, right?
Oh, no, they absolutely. They will do whatever they can to keep you from leaving that platform.
Exactly. So if we can leverage your content and some of the value bombs that you generate to put that content onto the platform and keep the audience there.
Yeah.
Then what ends up happening is you have a more engaged audience that's at the top of your funnel. Now what you do is you leverage the buttons and all the different tools and tricks that are inside of the ad platform to say, hey, TikTok, I only want to showcase my offer to people that have consumed 50% or more of your content. And so with a lot of the people that we work with here internally, what we do is we set up a digital newspaper for them. It never goes off, right?
Explain that.
Okay, so what most people do when they set up ads and they try to run campaigns is they set up the ad so that way the ad will go directly to the landing page or the sales page, and then they'll target a cold audience with interests or demographics. Or we've all heard this at this point, right? Now, because the platforms actually like to keep the audience on the platform, instead of setting up the campaigns to be driven to the landing page, we can set up the campaigns with the exact same content, videos, and offers. But we design it so that way it's designed to capture eyeballs.
Okay.
Now I can go in and I can build a custom audience on any of the platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, TikTok. They all do this. And I can say, hey, TikTok, I know that I put out 10 videos. I want to put all 10 of those videos in the ads. And then I want to target people that have only watched 50% or more of the content before.
Yeah. So they are qualified.
Not just with their demographics and their psychographics and their interests, but also with the fact that they've consumed your content.
Right. Oh, that's such an important concept too. That, what do they call it? Dwell time?
Yeah, it's part of Scott Olford's relevance, omnipresence, intimacy engine. It's also part of the fact that we know that part of the problem with like the Facebook ads and the Instagram ads historically is the fact that they don't convert, right? Well, the reason is because they're getting 7 different offers, not just your offer at the same time as they're interested in yours.
And I haven't, and I'm going to have to try TikTok and look into this now. You've got me intrigued, but I know too that some of those ads, LinkedIn is notorious for having very expensive ads, paying a lot more per prospect or per lead. And, the ads don't always work the way you think they will. You can put something out there, but if people don't have that relationship with you, even if they see the ad, you're absolutely right. They're just going to ignore it because there's so darn many of them.
Exactly. So we mitigate that process by setting up your authority. We incentivize the platform to deliver your ads and help you win in the bidding process by keeping them on platform. And only after the audience is built on the platform and you've located who are the people that are actually most likely to buy, do you deliver your sales message. And then that's how we lower conversion costs and increase the amount of people that actually buy from your ads.
That's terrific. I mean, that really is terrific. So what else should we know about venturing onto TikTok? Or, I mean, obviously you have an understanding of all the different platforms. If we're just trying to figure out where we want to go to build that, we figured out. We said, okay, it's TikTok, or okay, it's Facebook, or okay, it's LinkedIn. How do we build that visibility and credibility? I know you've said, you send out a lot of information, but are there important messages or important aspects of that messaging that we want to make sure that we honor?
Yeah, absolutely, Doctor. And I'm really glad you asked. And one of the things that I'm actually including in my spot for the free gift and all that stuff actually helps with that. So the thing with TikTok above the other platforms is that the algorithm actually fundamentally works differently than any other platform out there. Okay? And up until the invention and the advent of TikTok, everything was based on what they call a social graph, meaning that what you saw in your newsfeed and how you interacted and the offers that you saw was based mostly around the way that you talk, the topics, the groups you're in, and like what you're connected to in regards to your interests, right? Mm-hmm. Now, with TikTok, it operates fundamentally on what they call a content graph, meaning that almost 100% of what you see in that For You page is dictated by what you've already consumed. And so 70 to 80% of the success on the platform is really based around how good your content actually is. And the free gift that I have is a Trello workboard.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that I've actually, now everybody will have to request access, but I have my team on it. Like you'll get the access within an hour or two of requesting it, unless you're doing it at like 4:00 in the morning.
Well, it's 4:00 someplace, but there are also people working someplace.
Yeah. But we are on Eastern Standard Time, so
right. So we will do that. Yes,
and so we will get to it on an Eastern Standard Time. We will see the notification, and we will grant.
Yeah, and I don't know if everybody's familiar with Trello, but having that Trello board is just such a great. Being able to go in and access a Trello board is just such a great gift.
Yeah, and the whole objective of this particular board, Doctor, is so that way the people that are looking at it, once you guys load it up, you'll see a video genre in blue, a style in red, and a hook element in yellow. Those are the three elements that are the most important to nail when it comes to the content side of your strategy and marketing. Okay.
Would you repeat that, Wayne?
Okay, so you'll see on the Trello board, I have it laid out from left to right. Okay, there is a video genre in blue. Okay. You combine it with a video style in red, and you give it a hook element that's in yellow at the very end of the video.
Wow.
All of your TikTok should be 60 seconds or less.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? That 60 seconds or less also applies to the other platforms too, in terms of like video length.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know that when I first started out on LinkedIn, they were saying a 5-minute video. And
Really?
Yeah, seriously, no. And then I felt really smart when I figured out that captions, and all that. I thought I, really had it. But, I think the most recent I heard was a minute. And if you can make it 30 seconds, that's even better.
Yeah.
So we have to learn how to do those sound bites.
And it's one of those things that I think that like with all the guidance and all the materials that I provide in the Trello board, that if somebody just sits down and practices for probably about an hour a week, it's one of those things. And nobody likes this answer, but it's the most truest euphemism. Just, you got to get used to sucking for a little bit. You got to get the reps in. I'm one of those people that I always look for leverage in my business, and I always look for like different ways to do things faster or easier. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to creating video content, I found that actually just sitting down and getting the reps in is the only thing that makes it more comfortable. Because I mean, I hate, like, if there's not a person there like what you and I are doing right now, it's weird to just sit there and talk to yourself sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I think a dialogue is so much more interesting, and I think having that it's a system that you've got there, you know, with the 3 different points, and I you're absolutely right. We do have to do it to become comfortable. And I can remember when I first started live streaming, the first time I did it, it was great. I mean, it was like, yes, I did that. It took me like 70 more, you know, to really, I'm serious. I was a slow learner, and it was, you know, it was 70 more times before I really felt comfortable doing it again. And now, I mean, like, we have had every technical glitch you could possibly imagine on this summit. You know, I mean, things just did not go as were planned. I mean, it was technology interacting with Zoom and a bunch of other things that just kept happening, but we just kept going. And that's one of the things that happens. You know, once you've got that and you've practiced enough to feel comfortable, you know, then it becomes really powerful. But it is that repetition. And I'm not perfect in any of this. You know, they say not to be doing this and everything, and I'm just me on camera because, you know, that's the only thing.
Doctor, I'm so glad you said that, because I recently had a failure that I just wasn't being authentic, and I wasn't like thinking, I was trying to be somebody else that I wasn't, and it just failed all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm 100% like, if you're not gonna like try to go all in on something, or if you're gonna try to be something you're not, or if you're gonna do something that's inauthentic, don't do it at all. Your audience is smarter than that. We've, like, as humans, we've evolved to know, especially because of the whole pandemic thing, like, we've all been on video long enough to where we can detect BS through a video at this point, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think it's that comfort that you develop, that first of all makes it less intimidating for us, but also for other people. And that authenticity. I was really interested recently. I saw, and I can't remember the exact stat, but it was talking about how, you know, authenticity has always been a big key word, but that it has shot up over these last few years. And I think that's because people recognize authenticity because it's still rare.
It is. And, you know, it's, especially as somebody that's been in my particular profession for so long, even before I started my agency, I didn't understand the prevalence of the I can't say that word right now.
I know.
Inauthenticity. There we go.
Yeah.
The inauthenticity within the marketing and the digital space, the online coaching space. You know, everybody talks about risk reversals and guarantees and all that stuff. And I think they're important just to kind of validate yourself, but I think they've been overused over the past couple of years. Back in 2021, I invested $35,000 into myself just to be a better business person, man, husband, father, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I will tell you that the guys that, even if they didn't do everything that the program promised, that were authentic and that helped me, and that, like, I at least got something from their program I never talk bad about them. I'm like, hey, look, like, if somebody asks me my honest opinion about it, I'm going to say, hey, this is great. This isn't all that awesome, but it's okay because these other 2 things make up for it. Right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I still follow those guys. I still refer those guys. I still do all that stuff. Whereas the guy that took 10 grand from me, told me it was my fault, and then didn't provide service 60 days later, I don't even know where that guy is anymore. They're going to weed themselves out over time. Very
quickly. Yeah, and like we said, that inauthenticity word, which is, I'm doing that today too, is just, it's a killer. It's a real killer. And I have made that mistake a number of times because I'm a slow learner of doing something that didn't feel totally authentic, but I knew it was working for someone else. And I always tell people, you know, when you go and see those social profiles, make sure that you're not copying someone else, because, you know, you're not differentiating yourself. You're not taking advantage of social media to stand out rather than to blend in. And
100%.
Yeah.
And like, I saw a soundbite from Alex Hormozy the other day that was like, look, Gary Vee does the jets and growth and organic, and I do philosopher. Like, you are the brand. Just lean into the stuff that you already like, and your people will find you. But so many people let the doubt and the fear and I mean, honestly, like, if you're gonna let that stuff rule your life, you're kind of not cut out for this. So that's the price of the ticket. You know?
Yeah, entrepreneurs, go through things. Yeah, I think you've kind of touched on something for me too, because if you don't go with your purpose, if you don't have a purpose that you're working for, that you really believe in, then getting through those rough times is going to be a lot harder, because as long as you feel like you're serving your purpose, you'll keep going to really make that happen, and to make that happen for people that you want to see be transformed into a better place.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And it's hard to tell a person that hasn't gone through it, that hasn't lost thousands of dollars on bad deals, or hasn't gone through literally an entire week where you feel like burning everything down.
Oh, absolutely. Or I do remember one Christmas where I was kind of hiding under the covers for a day. The world has come to an end, and there are those moments. But I do think that as long as there are those of us who really love this, those of us who really have a passion about helping others achieve the goals that they really want, that's its own reward. It's not just the financial things. That doesn't keep us going.
The money's always just a byproduct.
Yeah.
Always just a byproduct.
Anyway, I was trying to watch because I thought there was a question here, but it was Latara. No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. I'm really nearsighted, and we had another meltdown today. My display died. So I'm literally having, so if you see me going like this, it's because I'm looking at little bitty.
I get it. I like I said, I'm 38, but I had 20/20 vision up until the time I was 20 or 35 years old. All of a sudden, it was just, I can't see anything without my glasses anymore.
Yeah. And actually, if I want to be, this is the reason I'm not seeing. I just realized is I have on my real glasses because I've gotten to the stage where I have to take off my glasses to read. I can see we get far more farsighted, so I can do that. But these actually have no glass in them.
No, that's awesome.
So that that whole branding thing, you want people to see you the same everywhere. So I just they sell you the frames, and I just had to make my second ones.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm telling you, man, I don't know how to deal with how everybody deals with this. My wife's got glasses, and she's had since she was 10.
Yeah.
I'm hitting those Facebook ads with the LASIK surgery, filling out 7.
Oh yeah. I couldn't read the big E, so they pretty well figured it out.
Yeah.
Although I did fake them out for a little while. But listen, it has been so great talking to you, Wayne. I'm so glad that we had you on last, because I think you have just given us kind of an overall understanding of how we want to go about using social media to get that message out, and not rely totally on ads, because ads can amplify our message, but it still has to be our message.
Exactly.
And I think that's so important. And the gift you're giving, the Trello board, I just want to make sure that everybody gets this tonight. We had another meltdown. My VA was on his way back from seeing his daughter in a car accident. I mean, this has been,
Okay.
Yeah. So our tech guy is not with us right now.
But I have it set up so that way everybody can just click on that link, and then they'll just fill out their name and their email, and my system should take care of the rest. I've got everything automated through Go High Level and all that stuff. So
Go High Level.
That's actually the biggest thing that we solve. The ads are just the fuel to the fire. We actually help people make it so that way they never have to worry about where their next lead appointment or client is coming from ever again. And a big part of that is the sales systems. Ads are actually really easy. It's the sales on the back end that trips most people up, and that's where we're the best.
Yeah, it's just, you have really opened my eyes a lot. In fact, this is, wow, is Mercury in retrograde? She would say, because we've had all these, that's one thing about being live. You just know that things can go wrong and things go wrong. And, when you're first starting out, I think that will, I can remember it would just kill me. I would be so upset about it. So Wayne, thank you so much for being with us and being just so informative, and the generosity of your gift. I want to tell people again that having something like that where you're getting a formula. Really, you're learning how to do this and have the key components that you need. And so you're extremely generous gift is great. And you also have a VIP gift. And I wonder if they're not going to get it unless they have a VIP access, but why don't you entice them a little?
So the VIP gift takes it a little step further. So back in summer, well, I've done this twice now, but back in the summer, I was actually invited to be part of a pretty exclusive group of entrepreneurs that filmed a TV show in the Midwest. That TV show is now on Amazon called The Blocks.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm on season 6. Season 9 will be out soon. It'll you guys can go download it, stream it from Amazon Prime. But during that time while I was there, I actually took a dozen of the people that I was with through a 8-day intensive TikTok training, and I recorded the whole thing.
Oh wow! So that's your gift?
Yeah. So for those of you that go to the VIP, not only are you guys going to get the Trello board, and we can actually you guys will learn how to create good TikTok videos that will actually convert into raised hands, so that way you're not just creating content for content's sake. But for those of you that are on the VIP gift, we're actually going to give you all of the recordings from all 8 of those days. And it takes you from never, ever having recorded anything on TikTok all the way to setting up your first ad campaign. And you can follow those 8 videos and set it up. Of course, if anybody has any questions, we're all over the place. We're easy to find.
We know where to find you, right?
Yeah. But I literally just did this last month. So why not record it for everybody and leverage it as an asset? Because to me, if we can get cheaper attention, more raised hands, incentivize the platform to show your stuff more, and then help you guys with the sales on the back end, everybody wins.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just great. And I'm going to have to go start looking at TikTok. You've just raised my curiosity, and I know that what I keep hearing is that vertical video is now the way to go, that more people pay attention to it. I'm going to have to check that out because I'm hearing that all over the place. So Wayne, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super grateful to get the chance to talk to you and your audience today. And
Wayne, I wanted to ask you something before you leave. We are starting a new live stream called the Dumont Digital Marketing Hour, and I would love to have you on. We live stream to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, but maybe we need to add TikTok too. I don't know. Can you stream to TikTok?
Yeah, you can actually do lives. That's actually one of the features. So moving into 2024, TikTok's going to be pushing very heavily TikTok Shop. It started with just physical products and drop shipping type of stuff, but I've seen, and we're going to start exploring this during the holiday season. Other coaches do micro content that they're monetizing through their TikTok shop. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then the other thing is TikTok Live. I actually just did a TikTok Live training with somebody from TikTok Corporate where they were saying that they have like a holiday challenge right now where they're telling people to go live for 2 hours twice a week, which to me seems like a lot in 1 week, but they're going to be pushing this very, very heavily. So TikTok Shop and TikTok Live over the next quarter, something to heavily watch if you're considering it as part of your strategy, for sure.
Well, I know what my homework is for Christmas break or for the holiday break.
Always be learning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much, Wayne. And I look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. Thank you, Dr. Owen. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.